Now you've seen the title and you've seen the thumbnail, so you know we're here to talk about GIJoe Classified, Haslab, and direct-to-order options, what we have coming up, and what we can expect. We're going to talk a little bit of speculation. We're talking about little rumors and stuff like that, and we'll go over some options, and you know what? Let's just get right into it. So right away, the thing is, let's set some ground rules here, right? So for GIJoe Classified, we have usually now every year we have an Haslab. It alternates between GIJoe and Cobra vehicles for the most part. That is what the routine has been so far. So last year was the Snowcat. It was a GIJoe vehicle. So as collectors, we are expecting a Cobra vehicle for this year's Haslab, right? I think that's fair to say. Now, on the flip side of that, direct to order, basically, you know what? We just had one. Cobra Arctic, his tank was made available. It was up for I think 30 or 45 days, and you know what, it was as many people wanted to order it, and you could place an order, and basically we have one of those coming as well. So that's a Cobra vehicle as well. So one would kind of assume that potentially if we were going to have another direct to order option, it would be a GIJoe vehicle. So I think they're the rules we're playing with right now as we continue our discussion. So let me know if you think that's fair. So Haslab is going to be a Cobra. If they do another direct to order, it's going to be a GIJoe vehicle. So they're the rules. So hey, before we get into it, you know what? If you are actually enjoying what we do here on our channel, think about hitting that like button right here. I really appreciate it as well. If you happen to be new on the channel or just haven't subscribed as of yet, think about as well hitting that subscribe button. It really does help our channel grow, and you know what? It gets us out to more people, and you know what? More people are enjoying the channel, and I really appreciate if you'd help us out. Thanks so much. Let's get to it. Now, the way I look at it now, look, the fact is I'm not an insider. I'll die on that hill. I'm not an insider. This is a lot of speculation, but thrown in with a mix of what we know so far, right? So if we jump right into it, we know that Destro's the spirit animal was contacted by an insider, and that insider said basically, hey, Hasbro is sitting on a Cobra Moccasin, and you know, it's pretty much ready to go. Now, obviously, a lot of us, when we heard that, we're thinking direct to order, because you know, if they're sitting on it, it's ready to go, or is it just the design is ready to go, right? We don't really know those fine details at the moment, but apparently it's in the system, okay? But the thing is, we just went over the rules, and direct to order is going to be more than likely a GIJoe vehicle moving forward if they do another one, because we got to wait for that Cobra his tank to come out. You would think they'd even up the odds. They're going to do a GIJoe vehicle. That's just speculation. I think that's fairer, right? Let's play devil's advocate for a second, okay? Let's just say that Cobra Moccasin makes it in as our Cobra Haslab for this coming year. Okay, so the thing is here, like once right away, people are like, no, that Cobra Moccasin is not big enough to be a Haslab. It's not worth the money. But you know what? Look what they did with the Snowcat. A lot of people said the exact same thing when the Snowcat was revealed or was, you know, announced, rumored. Like, no, they can't do the Snowcat. It's not big enough. And look what they did. They enlarged it. They made it bigger. They gave it more accessories and like a lot of stuff added to it to hopefully make it worth that money price point for collectors. So why couldn't they do something with the Cobra Moccasin? You know, obviously you're going to have a driver, you're going to have a gunner, maybe a couple spots on the side for a few extra troopers. Make it just enlarge it a little, right? Just enlarge it. Make it bigger than you're thinking, because originally a lot of people were thinking it was going to come to retail. So make it a little bigger, flush out the stretch goals with some really interesting and great options, right? So that is a potential. So doing all these things makes it worthwhile for a Haslab entry. So my personal opinion, I do think it has a pretty good chance of filling that Haslab entry. Of course, we'll get a tease in GIJoe June, probably the end of GIJoe June, leading into a full reveal at San Diego Comic-Con. Now, obviously, we're filming this, you know, in early spring, in March. by the time GIJoe June comes around, we'll have rumors circulating. We'll have a better idea of what the actual Haslab will be. So I'm doing these videos cold now. Like there's no real rumors going around. It's just based on the facts that we have right now. So we have that entry from the insider saying that, hey, Cobra Moccasin is on the table for something, okay? One would think, because earlier we made the point of the next direct-to-order will probably be a GIJoe vehicle. If the Cobra Moccasin was meant to be a direct-to-order vehicle, they're going to have to hold on to it for a bit, right? Because they're going to have to get a GIJoe vehicle out there, get that released, and then the next one would be a Cobra vehicle, which possibly with that Moccasin. And that is why, personally, I think that the Moccasin does have a chance of being this year's Haslab. Now, that's just my opinion. I welcome your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyways, moving on. So we've touched that. We've gone past that. Now, the second option here, okay, for me, once again, no insider information, just speculation based on what we've been told already. Now, if you do recall, I believe last year, late last year, maybe a year and a half ago, I'm not really sure exactly, but at some point there was a heavy rumor going around that there would be a Thunder Machine, a Dreadnought Thunder Machine coming to retail at some point. You know, it's going to be like the Vamp, like the Stinger. It was going to be pushed out to retail. It never happened for some reason. It got cut. They cut costs on things that Hasbro was doing. We don't know why. We don't know what happened to it, but the heavy rumor just kind of dispelled, and it never happened. Now, I personally do think, and I've talked about it numerous times on the channel, I do think the Dreadnought Thunder Machine does stand the best chance at being this year's Cobra slotted Haslab. That's just my opinion. No insider information, okay? I do think that they could easily, once again, oh, you can't do that, it's too small. Well, you know what, the same thing with the Snowcat, once again, they upscaled it. You could kind of upscale it, and you know what, this one stands a bit better of a chance because, you know, if we go back to Cobra Moccasin, no, it's done, it's ready to go to retail, so, okay, let's cut that one out and just the focus on the Thunder Machine. Maybe it was canceled from retail, it got too big, or they wanted to enlarge it to make it a fully realized Haslab option. I think this does stand the best chance currently on what we know. Now, once again, rumors will start to circulate in May, June. Details will come out. We don't have any of those details right now. So my personal opinion is that Haslab will be the Dreadnought Thunder Machine. Basically, people love the Dreadnoughts, right? People are obsessed with the Dreadnoughts. They pick all of them up or whatever. So I think the Thunder Machine needs to be made. Now, obviously, it needs to be either a direct-to-order option or a Haslab because it feels like that's the only way we're going to get these things. So, you know what? Once again, direct-to-order might be the next one is probably going to be GIJoe. Dreadnought doesn't really fit that. I think we got to see either the Moccasin or the Thunder Machine as this year's Haslab. I do think the Thunder Machine stands the best chance of that happening. There are leading options based on what we know currently right now, okay? Now, one thing I've seen since I've been doing a lot of these videos, I've been doing live streams, I've been doing, you know, comments and videos showing up or whatever, I see from the fans that they really want, a lot of them, okay, want a Cobra Moray. Now, I'm not really sold on this idea, but if I was gonna say one option from the fandom that does have a lot of the votes, it is the Cobra Moray. Because once again, don't forget, we're assuming it's going to be a Cobra vehicle based on the rotation, right? So, you know, we're not talking Killer Whale or anything because that's a GIJoe option. We're talking Cobra options. So we're talking fan option will be the Moray. So, I mean, I think the Moray, my concern would be it would be too large, okay? Because it does seem like they are not reducing, but scaling back. None of these, you know, you're not going to get a Jabba sail barge anytime soon anymore, okay? Like, plastic's too expensive. The companies want to like reduce and stuff like that. So I don't think that's going to happen anymore. You're not getting Unicron size Haslabs anymore. So The Cobra Moray is a weird one because it is a fully fleshed out boat. And, you know, I feel like to do it justice, it would have to be a certain size. You'd have to have, like, obviously, like, 2 guys driving it, a gunner, space in the back or whatever for a few people. And then you got to have lots of, like, accessories and options. I personally don't see it, but I'm not going to say it's not going to happen because it could happen, right? Once again, we don't have those final details right now. So the thing is, when it comes down to it, we do think it will be a Cobra option for Haslab this year. I do think out of one of these 3 options, I do think you see one of them as the Haslab, and then whatever's left over, we will see as a future direct-to-order option for the community. Once again, in theory, a GIJoe one would have to take place in between these Cobra releases, but that's just my opinion. So when it comes down to it, you know what? I have an opinion. You have an opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, obviously, look, we're going by the same rules we've always gone by, is that the next Haslab has to be Cobra. The next direct-to-order would more likely be GIJoe, okay? So, based on those rules, what do you think we will see coming in the future as part of our, you know, fan favorite GIJoe classified line? Anyways, let me know in the comments, and you know what? If you've stayed here this long listening to me ramble, why don't you watch this next video right here? I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching.